Ira Epstein with your morning flash update. And this update is for Wednesday, the 10th of August, CPI day, and it is 2022, 8:20 p.m. Central Time. Well, if you look behind me, it's a sea of green. Dollar down, everything else up sharply. Why? Because the market got a set of CPI numbers that were within the ranges I had talked about at the low part, which probably means at the minimum, maybe a peak in inflation, and now a gradual decline in it. I don't think you're going to see a runaway decline, but a gradual decline in that, and that's important. So the risk-on traders stepping forward, buying everything, if you can imagine. Be careful with that. I'll explain it in a minute. In the energies, a mixed bag. Very strong still because of the weather conditions in the United States and the grains. Bonds and notes, well, look at this. You want to see craziness? They took in the bonds up to 144.2 and smashed it right back down. You don't want to buy rallies on days like today. This is the risk-on day, I get it, but that means you're buying the breaks to see if the market able to hold. So let's go to the numbers, and let me bring them up if I could for you, and here we go. Let me bring it right back. There we are. All right, mortgage market numbers. We're seeing those fall, and you're seeing better numbers show up. Now, the mortgage purchase index didn't do anything, but because people bought up, let's say, quarter point higher, half point higher on surges, some of the mortgage companies, there's the refi going on. Let's talk CPI. The headline number, flat. That's all that matters. You're not increasing the inflation. That's the important part. When we take a look at the core, up 0.3, they expected up 0.5. That's down a bit. So you come to the CPI, what we'll say, the news is going to talk about 8.5% versus the expected 8.7 to 8.8. Down a fraction. And then the July core, and this is how I look at it year over year, ex-food CPI at 5.9%, they expected 6.1. It's even with the last month. Here's what it means. You're not surging forward anymore. Very important. We get PPI tomorrow, but I would think it follows something in that line. I'd be surprised if it doesn't. We'll come back to this in a minute. Conference board, we get the online help index, and that comes out at 9. Wholesale inventory sales data, that's going to come out for you also at 9. 9:30, we get the energy stocks numbers, and then we get some debt numbers at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, along with the I just said that, the EIA numbers, which I'll be looking for. So let's come back, if we could, for a moment here, and let me get this where I want it to be. There we are. Do you go chasing the market? I doubt it. Was it smart to maybe come out of the market early in front of the report? Probably. You just never know what the algorithm traders are going to do with this. The important part is those that have called that we've seen a low in the month of June, they're getting credibility. No if, and, or but. That doesn't mean the bear plays won't happen and that the Fed won't go with the 50 basis point hike. I think that you'll see that the Fed funds futures are going to shift on you. And what they'll do is that 75 basis point, now it's going to be more likely a 50 basis point hike by the Fed in September. That can change. We got a bunch of numbers between August 10th and the next Fed meeting. You could get a hot number at the beginning of September, and that changes it. But you got to go by what you have. It's still a 50 basis point number. And here's the negative. It does not take the Fed off their path. The Fed is going to be attacking a core CPI of 6%. You think they're not going after that number? Their goal is 2. They're 3 times that amount, okay? All it did is flatten. It didn't do very much. So that's the other part of the argument, and one I think that is extremely important to understand. As for the dollar, well, it got hit big today, and every currency went up against it. Okay, that makes sense when you think about we're not going to see a rate hike right away. That could have been either an emergency hike, had we seen a 9.2 number today on the headline, didn't get that. That's off the table, emergency hike. The 100 basis points off the table. And now you'll oscillate between the 50, 75 for a while here. That's how I'm viewing the market. Now, I talk about all this in my reports all the time. At 5:30 in the morning, typically, I start recording for my clients and give them what's happened in Europe, Asia, and the U.S. It's so important. We talked about what do you do with this, all right? I had traders coming in, for example, long, and they made money, but I don't want to go through the report. What if the market had gone the other way? How do I protect them for 50 points right away? You can't do it. I cover 40 charts at a time, day charts and weekly. So I'll rotate. During the week, I'll typically be from Monday through Friday day, and then on the weekend, all the others. How do you get the access to all this? It's simple. You go to our website, www.iraepstein.com, and when there, you can go up to the word research, or you can just very simply move your cursor, follow me, right up to the top here. You'll see an icon, give it a click. It'll explain how this all works. What do you have to lose? September's right in front of you. You think you don't need this information? Nonsense. Even Kramer, I was just listening to him, at 10:10, he puts out a 10-minute recording for his people. Got this? That's 9:10 Chicago time. He waits like I'm telling you. You let that first half hour of trading go by like I do in the Spiders ETFs. You now looking at everything and you put out what you think's going on. Because futures trade nearly 24 hours a day. I can do the 5:30 update on this one, and then I do right at 9 o'clock, I start recording my Spider ETF. So similar, and about my videos are about double the length of what he's doing. I cover a lot of ground for you. I'm Ira Epstein. Consider this. I will see you at the end of the day with our market wrap-ups. Take care.